It started like the kind of love story people dream about, late-night texts that turned into long conversations, flowers left at her door, the feeling of being truly seen for the first time in years. But sometimes, love doesn't save you. Sometimes, it lures you in. Before anyone realized what was happening, she had vanished. And when they finally pieced it together, the truth was more disturbing than anyone was prepared to face. Her name was Olivia Hartwell. And what happened to her wasn't just a tragedy, it was a warning. Before we begin Olivia's story, take a moment to subscribe to CrimeCortex. Each week, we uncover chilling true crime cases through a different lens. One shaped by empathy, deep research, and AI-powered analysis that reveals what others often miss. If stories like this matter to you, if you believe every victim deserves their voice heard, then join our growing community. And don't forget to tap the notification bell so you never miss the truth behind the headlines. Now, let's return to Olivia. Olivia Hartwell was the kind of woman people remembered. Not because she was loud or flashy or demanding attention, but because she radiated a quiet kind of grace. At 32, she had rebuilt her life from the ground up. A graphic designer by trade, a nurturer by nature. After a difficult divorce in her late 20s, she'd moved to a smaller city in search of peace, a fresh start, and maybe, just maybe, someone to build something real with. She lived in a modest apartment lined with plants she spoke to like old friends. On Sundays, she volunteered at the local animal shelter, and on weeknights she worked late, headphones on, creating designs that carried pieces of her soul. Friends described her as warm, trusting, almost too trusting. Love for Olivia wasn't a game. It was sacred. Something she gave fully, believing that people, at their core, were good. That belief would be the one thing he used against her. She met him on a rainy Tuesday in March. His name was Daniel Mercer, charming, well-spoken, and effortlessly magnetic. He worked in corporate IT and had that calm confidence that made people lean in when he talked. Their paths crossed in a coffee shop when they both reached for the same book left on a community shelf. A laugh, an apology, and the spark was instant. Their connection grew fast. Coffee turned into dinners. Dinners turned into weekends. And within 2 months, Daniel had all but moved in. To the outside world, it looked like a fairy tale. Olivia had finally found someone who saw her. He left notes on her mirror, made breakfast before she woke, even learned the names of her shelter animals. For the first time in years, she felt safe. But love built too quickly can hide its cracks. Her friends noticed the little things first. How Daniel always answered for her. How her phone, once constantly buzzing with group chats, grew quieter. How she started turning down invitations, apologizing, always saying she was just tired. Still, Olivia smiled. She always smiled. Because she believed this was what love was supposed to look like. But behind that smile, something darker had already begun to take root. At first, the changes were almost invisible. A comment here, a correction there. Daniel would tease her in public. Nothing harsh, just enough to make her laugh nervously and shrink a little. He started suggesting what she should wear, what friends she should avoid, what clients weren't worth her time. All under the guise of love. I just want what's best for you, Liv. You don't see how they use you, but I do. And Olivia, gentle, empathetic Olivia, believed him. He took over her calendar. Picked her up from work even when she hadn't asked. He'd check her phone while joking about how people cheat all the time these days. When she pushed back even slightly, he'd go quiet. Withdraw. Make her feel like she'd done something wrong. Control disguised as care. Possession masked as protection. It was around this time that Olivia stopped volunteering. Her clients noticed she missed deadlines. Friends said she'd become harder to reach. Her once bright energy now dulled, distracted. But none of them knew just how isolated she had become. Behind closed doors, Daniel had rewritten the rules of her world. And by the time Olivia realized what was happening, she no longer recognized the life she was living. It happened on a Wednesday. Olivia had been quiet for days. Her best friend, Maya, had texted her 3 times, no response. Finally, Olivia replied with just 2 words, "Need space." That wasn't like her. The truth was she'd found something. A week earlier, while Daniel was in the shower, his phone buzzed on the nightstand. Normally, she wouldn't have touched it. But this time, something told her to look. And there it was. A message thread with another woman. Long, intimate. Ongoing. But that wasn't the worst of it. There were photos. Dozens of them. Not just of Olivia. Of other women. Photos taken without their knowledge. In coffee shops. Parking lots. One photo, her asleep, vulnerable in her own bed. The timestamp didn't match the day it was taken. The bottom dropped out of her stomach. This wasn't infidelity. This was something darker. She didn't sleep that night. She waited until morning, packed a bag quietly, and slipped out the door while Daniel was still asleep. She drove straight to Maya's, shaking, crying, not with heartbreak but with fear. Something had snapped inside her. For the first time, Olivia admitted what had been happening. The surveillance. The isolation. The way Daniel had made her doubt her own instincts. And Maya did what Olivia was too scared to do. She called the police. But by then, it was already too late. Daniel had woken to an empty apartment. And Daniel didn't like to be left. The police arrived at Maya's home within the hour. Olivia, still shaken, gave her statement in pieces, trying to stay calm, trying to hold herself together. The officers listened, took notes, but even they couldn't see what was coming. Daniel hadn't called. He hadn't texted. He hadn't tried to find her online. Instead, he waited. That night, Maya noticed something strange. A car parked across the street. Same one. Same spot. All night. At 3:14 a.m., the sound of glass shattering jolted them awake. He was inside. The struggle was brief, violent, and silent to the outside world. Maya dialed 911, her voice barely recognizable through the panic. But by the time help arrived, the front door was open, and both Olivia and Daniel were gone. Maya was left bruised but alive. The search began immediately. Olivia's name hit the wires as a potential abduction. Checkpoints were set up. Roadblocks ordered. But there were no leads, just silence. For 48 hours, Olivia's fate remained a mystery, until they found the car. Abandoned at the edge of a hiking trail 2 counties over. Inside, blood, duct tape, zip ties. Her phone, smashed. And in the trunk, strands of her hair. The evidence was overwhelming. But there was still no sign of Olivia. What had started as a twisted romance had now become something far more chilling. The discovery of the car marked a turning point. Investigators knew they weren't dealing with a runaway. This was deliberate, coordinated, and it had escalated with terrifying precision. The blood inside the vehicle matched Olivia's. But there wasn't enough to declare her dead. That gave detectives a sliver of hope, and a heavy dose of urgency. Daniel Mercer's name hit law enforcement databases nationwide. His phone had been shut off since the night Olivia disappeared. His apartment, abandoned. Scrub. Not a fingerprint in sight. But what he didn't know was that the tech he once used to control Olivia would now help expose him. Police recovered an old smart speaker from the apartment. A forensic tech found dozens of stored voice recordings, arguments, commands, even Olivia pleading in the background on one particularly disturbing file. Then came the most chilling find, a hidden folder on Daniel's cloud account. Encrypted. Buried beneath layers of innocuous files. Inside journals. Hundreds of entries. Detailed accounts of Olivia's daily movements, conversations she didn't know he heard, photos taken through windows. It was surveillance disguised as love. Control documented like a project. Each entry ended with the same phrase. She belongs to me. With the digital evidence mounting, the FBI joined the case. AI-assisted data mapping placed Daniel's devices along a trail leading deep into the Appalachian foothills. It was remote, difficult terrain, perfect for hiding something, or someone. And that's where the dogs found the first sign, a single shoe half buried in the leaves. Olivia's. They found her 2 miles from where the shoe had been discovered, alive but barely. Olivia had been kept in a makeshift shelter built into the side of a ravine. It was cold, damp, and hidden beneath a camouflage tarp. Rescuers said she was conscious when they arrived but barely responsive. Her wrists were bruised. Her voice hoarse. She had survived 4 days alone with a man who once claimed to love her. Daniel Mercer was found half a mile away trying to flee through the woods. His capture was swift and silent, just like his crimes. The arrest made headlines. The courtroom was packed when the trial began. Olivia, fragile but fierce, stood to testify. Her voice trembled as she told the jury how Daniel had watched her, tracked her, broken her down, piece by piece, until escape felt impossible. The prosecution presented the journals, the recordings, the GPS trails and photos. There was no room for doubt. Daniel Mercer was found guilty on all charges: kidnapping, attempted murder, unlawful surveillance, and aggravated assault. He was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. And Olivia, scarred but standing, became something Daniel never expected: a survivor who refused to stay silent. In the months that followed, Olivia Hartwell's story spread far beyond her small city. News outlets covered her testimony. Advocacy groups reached out. Survivors who had never spoken before suddenly found the courage to share their own stories. She had become a symbol of strength, of warning, and of the thin line between love and control. Olivia stayed out of the public eye for a while, choosing healing over headlines. But eventually she began to speak. Quietly at first, then louder. She partnered with domestic violence organizations and pushed for legislation requiring mandatory digital abuse training for law enforcement, a law that would later be nicknamed Olivia's Act. Her life would never be the same. But in surviving, she had taken back what he tried to steal: her voice, her power, her story. And for every person who watched her case unfold, there was a haunting truth left behind. Love should never hurt. And when it does, it's not love at all. There are stories that chill us, and then there are stories that change us. Olivia's story is both. It reminds us that danger doesn't always come with warning signs or strangers in the night. Sometimes it arrives with flowers, with whispered promises, with someone who says, "I love you," while slowly erasing who you are. If you or someone you know is in a situation that doesn't feel safe, trust that feeling. Silence protects no one. And love, real love, never comes with fear. At CrimeCortex, we believe every voice matters, and every story deserves to be told. This story moved you? Help us share it. Like the video. Subscribe for more true crime cases powered by deep research and AI analysis. And leave a comment below. What signs do you think were missed? And how can we protect others before it's too late? Thank you for watching. Stay safe, stay curious, and never stop seeking the truth.